she used to always say to me, "You're my soulmate." And I was always like, "That's so dramatic." Like, and she's like, "You're my soulmate." And I'd be like, "Well, I love you so deeply and you're one of my favorite humans." She's like, "Nope, soulmate." And I was like, "Well, I'd like to reserve that for like my husband. I decided to marry him, and, raise his kids together." And like, she's like, "Nope, I'm your soulmate." I was always like, "God." But I really think I was her soulmate during this life. I do. And then when she passed away, I was like, she's now my soulmate, because I feel like our souls are working together. And I don't know if I was as available to be her soulmate when she was here as I am now. But I think she somehow knew that if she handed this task or this idea to me, that I was not going to stop.
I'm here with Nikki Boyer, and I'm really excited.
I am too.
And I'm excited because you've done so many interviews for a fantastic reason, which is, I don't even have to do an intro. We all know who you are, and we all know your background and the podcast and the show and everything. So we'll just sort of talk about it and let it all come out to fruition.
I love that.
Because I feel like if I do a fancy intro, whatever, but I kind of want to talk differently a little bit because I feel like I don't know, I've watched a lot of interviews, and there's so many obvious questions I could ask you. But first of all, we're talking about you turning 50 tomorrow.
Yeah, literally.
Literally tomorrow. I don't know when we're going to air this, but tomorrow.
Right, yeah.
I'm turning 50 in 9 months, whatever, in March. I think 50 is awesome. 40s were great. I'm really excited for my 50s. I think birthdays are wonderful and reasons to celebrate. Obviously, when you lose someone really close to you, like people who are like, "I hate my birthday, I don't want to get older." Like, well, what do you want to do? Die? Like, I don't understand. Yeah.
Right.
So, and I think big birthdays are milestones to be celebrated, however you see fit. And we're both here in LA and alive. And so it's so cool to meet you in person and to chat.
You.
But I want to just start with, first of all, you've been through so much as a friend and as a really good friend and as a caregiver. And I've thought a lot about that when I've been reading about you and listening to you talk. And I only know that as a daughter because my mom died of cancer when I was young. She was diagnosed when I was 16 and died when I was 21. And the interesting thing is, I didn't think of myself that way because my mom didn't talk about that she was dying. In fact, she didn't talk about the fact she was dying at all for 5 years when she was dying. And she really did also have it's terminal cancer. She was diagnosed very late stage ovarian cancer, and she was fighting for her life for 5 years. But that's not how she talked about it. It's not how she lived those 5 years.
Okay.
But I didn't see myself as her, and I have siblings, but I didn't see myself in those shoes. But I think I was when I look back.
Yeah.
And in particular in my family, and I'm sure my siblings will get annoyed when I say this, but
well, they get annoyed anyway about
everything. Especially with me. But that's another podcast. But I was definitely I flew home a lot from college. I really wanted to be there with her. I probably knew she wasn't going to make it, but I really wanted to spend time with her, and I really wanted to ask her questions. And I really wanted to just bond. We planned my wedding. I wasn't engaged or even dating someone. I was 18 when we did that. So, and that's the wedding I had, I ended up having literally every moment we had planned. So I want to ask you about that experience for you.
Yeah.
And what it really meant to you. Not necessarily after and the legacy that you've continued for Molly, but your experience, if you can think about it during the time of being that kind of friend.
Right.
Because we all have friends, but you were that friend, a sister, more than a sister. I mean, just this intense friendship of being there for someone. Because it breaks up marriages, it breaks up families, and it did, right? But you were a friend who was there through the best and the darkest kind of that were mixed in together.
Yeah. I mean, I think of it as just life. I was there for her life, right? Because it's so messy. And if you get the opportunity to have a long life, I bet if you look back, you can just be like, oh my gosh, those years, remember those? And then those years, remember those? And I think the older we get, the more we realize it's just an ongoing, very non-straight path through life. And I think when Molly first got sick, I was a little, I think, to be honest, when she was first diagnosed very early on, I think it was in 2011, I think, when she had her first diagnosis, I was a little slightly detached. I had lost my dad already from cancer, who was 50, which is why this birthday means so much to me. So I saw what it meant when a younger person passed from cancer. But in my mind, my dad was always so much older than me. So even though when he was 50, I was 30, it still seemed, he was young, but it was still apparent. It felt far away.
Also 50,
yes.
27 years ago was much older than 50 is
100%.
now. I mean, it's because we're going to be 50.
Right.
But
We're
also,
just saying that. No, but I know
but
what
it
you
was
mean.
like, I mean, my mom dressed different. Our parents dressed differently. They act differently. They had a job for 35 years. Like, it was a different
and I think the
time. That generation was different.
Yeah. And the trauma that they had gone through was, they didn't sit around and get therapy and talk about their feelings and address the creepy people in their family.
Correct. And do self-care and like
none of that.
Take their time. Yeah.
So when Molly got sick at 46, I didn't even really, I don't know. I just didn't think of it as a possibility. I think no matter how much death you go through, each person that gets sick in your life is like a new story and a new chapter. And so I don't even think I was aware that I was caregiving or caretaking. I was just showing up to be a friend. And to be honest, there were times I showed up in a really shitty way where I wasn't able to be there, or I just didn't take it as seriously, or the stakes weren't as high. But I do remember when she got re-diagnosed, I think in 2016, it hit me in a different way because I thought, oh, this is a recurrence. She had already done all the chemo, the mastectomy, bilateral mastectomy, and all the treatment. And so I really did think she, quote unquote, beat it. So to know that it had come back, it just kind of felt different. So at that point, she said, I really would love for you to help me through this. And I was terrified.
But she asked you.
She was like, I think she knew that there was a possibility of a separation in her marriage. And I think she wanted to start setting up the people that she could count on because she wasn't going to have that day in and day out of support from her partner, which he still showed up in very many ways. I didn't take her to all of her doctor's appointments. I wasn't there for every single thing. Toward the end of her life, I was very much a part of her health journey. But early on, I was a little
it's nearly impossible to do that.
Right. I had a new relationship. I had 2 new stepchildren that I was raising that were very young. I was going through my own health stuff. But looking back, she was very clear, I need your help and I want you next to me. But she never really said, now that I'm like saying it out loud to you, will you like care for me? I think she knew I wouldn't have been able to do it full time. And I think she would have taken anything that I would have given her. But as time went on, I just kept going more and kept showing up more because I just knew she was getting sicker.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't say it out loud, I kind of knew there was not going to be a lot of time to get to do these things with her. And even though I would get caught up, my husband, my boyfriend at the time would say, I'm like, I might go see Molly tomorrow. I might go grab lunch. And he's like, go be with Molly. So he was very helpful and instrumental in pushing me to give myself permission to just at all times, just stop what was going on at home and just go. So, but she also made it very fun. Like it was never like I picked her up and we went to a doctor's appointment and cried the whole time.
Yeah.
It was always an adventure. And she was so happy to be with me that every time we would go to the doctor's appointment, it was a full laugh fest. We had the best time together. So it was these 2 worlds colliding at the same time, which was always that way with her. Yeah.
Yeah. I found that when my mom passed away, my family started this foundation, and then I chose about a year later at 23 years old to run it. And this has been my life. I'm almost 50, right? My whole adult life. And I don't really, I was so young when I made this my journey and my career and all this stuff. And I was really young. Like I had no idea what I was doing. And to say it's been a way to grieve and a way to move forward and all those things, those are all true. But it's also been this incredible way to keep her really close to me and to learn so much about my mom and to keep talking about her and to understand more about her and to talk to other people. And it's taken on a bigger life of its own for sure, as obviously Molly has, and Dying for Sex and turning into the show and all the things. But it is this incredible experience to continue to talk about someone you love so much, right?
I know.
And and to share it with so many people, share her with so many people. And that has brought me so much joy. So you said something really subtly, which was about your dad and becoming, turning 50 at the age where he passed away.
Yeah.
So my mom was diagnosed at 48 with cancer, and she died at 53.
Okay.
So I talked a lot out loud to myself, to my husband, to people who listen. At 48, I almost held my breath until I turned 49. I know I have had a very different health journey than my mom. I've treated my body really differently. I'm really different with my doctors. This was something you talked about a lot. And Molly, I think, put out in her sort of story in her life. And you guys talked about on your podcast, her misdiagnosis really early on when she felt a lump.
Yeah.
And that's something I've said since I was really young, which is know your normal, know your body, and be your own best advocate. Don't listen to the person. It's so hard not to listen to a doctor who you walk into an office. It's so intimidating. There's diplomas on the wall from God knows what college, and they tell you whatever and you listen. I mean, that's what we're taught to do. You're not taught, especially as a female, to say you're wrong. I don't trust you. I don't believe you. I'm going to go find someone else to talk to. But we have to. And so for a year, I felt like I held my breath. Do I have cancer? Am I going to get diagnosed with ovarian cancer? No, I have had my, I've done preventive surgeries. I've, have appointments, blah, 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 all the things, vaginal ultrasounds, all the things.
Still, they're
this cloud,
totally,
right?
Yeah.
But but it's this idea of keeping this person so close to you, talking about them, listening to other people, and just sharing. There's so many words to describe what that means and what that does for your own self and then the community around you. Will you just talk, tell me?
Yeah.
I can't even I try to describe it and I'm bleh.
But I know exactly what you mean.
Right?
It's so interesting because I talk about her so much more now that she's gone than I did when she was here. And I think that's legacy and that's love living on. And there's also it has really helped me grieve.
So much.
I can't even explain it. We finished the podcast, right? When she passes away, we finished the podcast, and I thought there'd be an immense amount of grief that took over. And then the podcast came out and everyone got to get a piece of her. And I thought, the grief's going to hit now. I mean, the grief is always there. It's part of you.
Bubbles. It simmers.
And occasionally it'll boil over. And every time it boils over, it's when there's a new phase of me sharing her. So for example, when I watched the rough cuts of the episodes after I got them from FX, there was a first release of Cry. And then I was able to watch it with my shit together, right? And then when the show came out, and my husband and I watched the final episode together in bed, that felt like just a wave of grief that I hadn't felt yet because there was a real finality to it. But then on my way here, I'm driving here and I'm I'm still talking about it. I'm still sharing with her. So I feel like we're still working together. I feel her with me. It starts to get farther and farther away, her spiritual energy, because I think that's natural. I think they can't always be right with us, but it's been... Gosh, help me with the math.
When did she pass away?
2019.
So it's almost 6 years.
Yes.
6 years.
And I'm still feeling her so closely and so deeply. And I have a comparison because I know what it was like to lose my dad 20 something years ago. And I talk about my dad a lot and I love pictures but I feel like there's I've let go a little bit of my dad in a different way because I wasn't talking about him every single day. I wasn't sharing him with the masses on a television show. So this has given me the gift to grieve her in a different way. And I hope it doesn't sound cheesy, but I feel like my purpose is to be that light for her. And through doing that, I then get really awesome things that are happening in my career and in my personal life. So I feel like she's just enmeshed in me. Like we're very enmeshed. I don't know if that's healthy, but I feel like we're still involved in each other's lives. And God, I really miss her. Like, oh, it's like always right here, but with the missing, there's like crazy amounts of gratitude at the same time. So it's a different grief than I've ever experienced. I'm sure you feel that way with your mom and with this charity that's because of her. So you're always working under the umbrella of your mom's spirit. And
that's the legacy part.
Yeah, that's different. I've never had that before.
Natasha Gregson Wagner, whose mom was Natalie Wood.
Yeah.
Is a really close friend. She and my oldest sister were best friends growing up. They're still very close, and I'm close with her. And she describes it as a rock in your pocket. And there's always this like heavy rock in your pocket, and you get used to having it in your pocket. And some days it's really heavy.
Yeah.
And some days it's light because you've gotten used to having it, but it never goes away. And there's so many other descriptors of grief and of loss.
That's a good one though. I like it.
But to me, it's like the best one because there's something about having something in your pocket where you can like stick your hand in it and you can hold it and it's tangible and it's rough and it's heavy and it like knocks against you some days. But then it like, kind of like digs into your thigh and it's always there. And then to create a legacy out of that helps the grief, but also allows you to carry it in a way that gives to the world and helps people. Because that part's huge. See,
it's
to
huge.
Me, that's a big deal. And
yes,
I don't know how much other people think about that, but I obviously, for reasons that make sense, think about that a lot because she went down a road that, I mean, there's no reason to like get angry about it and really get angry about it now, but we can if we want. But she went down a road that who knows, like, but did she have to go down that? We don't know. But that in itself is such an important piece that gets told and you tell it. And you guys tell it in a way that's, funny and impactful. And I think really hits home that I think women will hear in a way that they don't always hear. Because they don't get told it that way. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense. And I also feel like the person who is telling it is gone, but she told it from the perspective of the letting go, right? And I think because she was so open and brave and honest and didn't give any fucks about any of it, that she was speaking from such a place of just authenticity.
Yeah.
And as women, it's hard to find that. And I think she struggled a lot finding how she was received. And I think when she lost the ability to basically get out of bed and feel like a woman is when she got, I think, the most in tune with her beautiful feminine spirit, which was so cool to see someone get to that place and then write a book from that place and then do a podcast and talk to me from that place. So I feel like what she gave was this gift of a perspective on life while she was actively dying. So the stakes were really high and the clarity was super, super crystal clear. So I feel like every time I start to feel wishy-washy or unclear about who I am, I'll listen to episode 6 of the podcast because I feel like it's just a constant reminder of that clarity. And I get it from her. It's like a therapy session every time that I listen. I'm probably due for another listen because I probably need it. But I think that she changed how people absorb stories around women with cancer and sexuality, that she not only helped people through their own process, their own grief, she also kind of gave people permission to just really authentically be themselves. And sometimes you need to see that on a screen in a way and see somebody do it authentically for it to like penetrate in a certain way. And I'm just so grateful that the writers of the show got that and that they knew that that was a big part of Molly's desire to be shared in that way. And so when she died, I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's gone. But the way that her soul and her story is living on, I think far surpasses maybe what she ever thought that it could be.
I can't imagine and what she's thinking. Like,
I know.
Holy shit, this is so crazy. How did she deal with the trauma that she went through as a kid? Like, how do you know? Like, how did she
It's funny you ask that because I didn't know. I knew it was a story. Like I knew something happened. And as when you meet in your 20s, the first thing you don't share back then is your childhood trauma. Now I think it's all the kids do is sit around and talk about their childhood trauma.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to hear what my kids say. I mean,
I know, right?
My mom,
I know. I was just
really the middle child.
Yeah, exactly. So we didn't really dig into it, but I knew there was this story. And I think she kind of knew I had a story, but we didn't talk about it. But I knew that the parts of her that had trauma and the parts that had trauma for me matched up energetically. I just didn't know that at the time. Looking back, I have that. But we didn't really talk about it much until we were much, much older. And when she got that misdiagnosis with the doctor that she and I both shared, we both went to the same OBGYN. She said to me, this feels like a re-trauma from my childhood. And that was much later in our friendship. And that's when we kind of started talking about the people in our lives that made us feel incredibly uncomfortable when we were very, very small.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until, 18, 17, 15 years into our relationship that I actually dug into that with her. And I learned the most about it, honestly, the most about it when she was in the hospital.
Yeah.
And when I read her book, and I really got a deep understanding when I read that chapter for the first time of like, oh, this is what happened from beginning to end in your experience. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because maybe the parts of me didn't want to ask her, or also we were really morbid and we talked about very uncomfortable things. I think maybe there was so much current trauma going on that we were like, why go back when we can just talk about the trauma that's happening now? But I didn't really get it. Even though I had my own experiences, I didn't really get it. And never did we hash that out together. So in her dying and in her sharing, on the podcast and in her book, I got to really understand a layer of her that maybe I didn't know as much about when she was alive.
Yeah. Because then when you think about her sexual experiences when she was later, it all, if you're looking at it from a bird's eye view, you're like, oh, okay, it all somehow makes sense.
Yeah.
But life doesn't make sense, and when you're living it, you're not living it that way.
Right.
So, that's a therapist point of view.
We're very much, when we're talking about sex, and we're talking about shame around sex, all the kinks and fetishes she was experiencing, she never had any judgment around it. None.
It doesn't seem like that for sure.
I had a little bit. And I was always like, where does this come from? And then when I got to understand a deeper layer of what she had gone through as a child, I think she always held on to the fact that people sometimes sexually experiment based on the trauma that they've had. And so sometimes fetishes can be linked to that, or can go back to things that have happened very early on, maybe before you even remember. And that's why she didn't have that judgment, because she said, well, I don't know what these people have actually been through to get them to the point where they enjoy this or this. So she didn't have that judgment, I think, because she understood where the core of it could have come from.
Yeah. That's so crazy.
But I was like, that's weird.
I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Right. As long as you're not harming anybody else. But what?
Yeah. Yeah. Some of those things that were in there, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
You read about those in funny books, or you see them on TV.
I mean, there were some that I still will not utter to this day that I'm like, but she always found compassion and for people and in a way that I didn't have the ability to do.
You're like, but tell me about it. Really?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd be like, ew, what? And she's like, and she was interested, right? She was so interested in where it came from. And I think that's one thing that these
she
men,
was an investigator.
Exactly. These men felt cracked open because here was a woman that was doing things for them and then going, where does this come from for you? And what is it about? And if she could find out the why, she was in. So fun.
Maybe she should have been an investigative journalist or something, investigative reporter. Or do exposés.
Sex things only.
Yeah.
Honestly,
like that.
She was the most interested person I've ever met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it feel like you were reliving kind of her dying with that sort of last scenes in the series? The end when you were watching it, you said that last, when you were laying in bed with your husband and you were watching the last, how did it, And you were experiencing grief again.
Yes, I'm having it right
Sorry,
now.
I don't want to make you do it.
I love it. I cry all the time. It's all I do. It's just my love language. I feel that.
Or could you detach at all, or can you, or no? Because it would make sense if you can't.
It's a great question. I think I detach from parts of it at certain times where I'm like, oh, I can watch that scene. Like I was on set when we shot that scene and it was very beautiful and very moving and I cried a lot. But I remember when I watched the first rough cut, I was like, oh, that's good. Oh, they got that. That's good. But then when I watched it with my husband, I was rocked to the core. I don't know I think I just pick and choose the times that I'm going to, or maybe I don't pick and choose. Maybe it picks and chooses me of when I'm going to feel it as a human versus when I'm going to feel it as a producer or an artist telling a story. But I will never, like, the moment that she passed away, I, in real life, had my hand on her leg and I was asleep and something tapped my finger and woke me up. And then she took her last 2 breaths with my hands on her. I was so blown away by the fact not that she died, but that something woke me up to tell me to be there for her. I was so caught up in that moment after she died that I was more like shocked and like, did she just do that? Did she just do that? Did that just happen? So that when I watch it back, then I tap into the grief of, oh my gosh, she is gone. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, she's been gone for 6 years. So I feel like I'm always on some version of a staircase of the grief. And it just depends, I guess, where I am emotionally that day, how far I'm going to let it in. But sometimes something will just rock me. And it wasn't the death scene in Dying for Sex that brought me to tears. It was the moment when Nikki's character and Jenny Slate comes out of the theater and sees those 2 older women sitting and laughing. And I thought, oh gosh, that's where my grief comes from now, is knowing. And I imagine that's how you must feel on Mother's Days.
Every Mother's Day.
And when you see a wedding where I feel it, I get it. So it comes up in really weird moments, but it's not usually when I think about the death. It's when I think about what's left after the death.
All that life. That you don't get to have. Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't watch Beaches without like,
right?
Literally vomiting. Or the movie Stepmom. I mean, there's all these, and there's the movies when you're like, okay, I'm having a really awful period. Although I feel like I'm almost at the end of my periods, but like, and you're like, I just need to just like really, really cry. Like, I just need to like really have like a really like awful time. And you'll put on one of those movies or TV shows or whatever. And you're like, okay, this hits really hard. My husband's like, what are you doing to yourself? He'll walk in like towards the end. I'm like, I just needed it. He's like, oh my God.
It's vital.
It's just necessary.
If it doesn't come out then, purge. Then it comes out sideways towards your kids or towards the checkout person at the store or towards the person in traffic. Like, I believe an emotional, my nose is so tickly right now. And I feel like it's her. No, I feel like she's here. I was like, what? If you don't do those emotional purge, I think they're necessary.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
I agree. You have to.
I feel like I need one.
Yeah. Otherwise you get like constipated. And it gets like stuck. It's true. You get like constipated with it and or
so
it does come out like against someone else. Yeah. It's like,
I might be constipated right now. I mean, I think it's
like an emotional enema.
I think oh my God, that's what, and it's funny you say Beaches and that you say shows, because I wonder how many people out there now are going to use
this is a show for sure.
This show as their constipation relief.
Yeah. Coined a new
I have one song that I listen to that does it for me, where I'm like, when I feel it starting to build and I know I need to purge it, and I can be alone. There are like, well, actually there's like 2 or 3. And if I listen to them in a row, that gives me a good long, because you know, when you cry and then you're like, oh, there's still a little bit left and you don't let it out. I think like you have to get to the point where you're yawning.
Yeah.
You're a little bit exhausted. Like that's what the purge has to run that course.
Yeah. It's a full on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when you're not done throwing up. There's like a little bit left.
We brought this all back to puke and poop.
Totally. It's like you have like the stomach flu or you ate something bad. You got to get it all out.
All of it.
Totally.
I think I need one. I think when I leave here today, I want to go in my car
and put on those songs. Do it.
poop my brains out.
Go for it.
Through
Nothing
tears.
feels better.
Pooping tears out of my eyes.
It's a good thing.
This is such a Molly conversation that we're having right now.
I'm disgusting,
you're my Molly right now, because this is what we do. We take a nugget of a joke and then just like exhaust it, make it weird,
really
and then share it with the waiter who comes over, who's like, I don't want any part of this. And then it just becomes an inside joke that like,
I have like toddler poop, definitely.
Humor. We're in it.
Bad news.
But the idea of like pooping tears makes me laugh. And that's so something Molly would be like, I'm pooping tears.
Poop emojis coming out of my eyeballs.
I was constipated, but now I have diarrhea tears. Like, this is the dialogue that we would have in the hospital, that we would have in the doctor's appointments.
You have to do it.
I know.
It's just life. I have 3 boys. I mean, come on.
So you know.
I mean, yeah.
Wait, how old are they?
22.
Oh my God.
19 and 15.
Why in my mind was I picturing 7, 9, and 12? You're like, no. I was a child. Wait.
I was not a child.
How old were you when you had your first kid?
27. I mean, I wasn't that young.
Why does that seem like...
I know. It wasn't. Wild. I'm just... Yeah.
You're just gorgeous.
I'm not gorgeous. We're the same age. I just had kids younger. I just was like, I wasn't waiting. Yeah.
Wow, you have like 3 men in your life.
Yeah.
Well, 4 with your husband.
Yeah.
And you still like your husband.
I do. I love him. We've been married a long time. I was very, like I was born to be a mom.
Oh.
Like when I have a brother who's 7 years younger and 2 older sisters. And when my mom brought my brother home from the hospital, I was like, it's mine. Like it's my doll. And I would like help put him to bed every night. And when he was like 7 years old, I would still cut his food for him. Like I literally always was that person.
Oh my God, I love this. I love picturing you doing that.
That was totally me. And my sisters would be like, stop babying him. And I was like, I can't. And literally.
I can't.
Yeah. And when my mom passed away, I was a senior in college and I was in school across the country. And I came home my second semester senior year to help take care of my brother, to be home for him. He was in 9th grade. And I kind of knew I wanted to get married. I mean, I guess it was young for our generation. And I knew I wanted to have kids, and I knew whatever it meant for like our lifestyle, I want to be a full-time mom. Like I was just,
you knew.
I just knew I think when you lose your mom young, like I just knew that was that's like a possibility in your life.
You can't undo
that if you lose your father young. Like it's a possibility. It just, it is something on the table. It might be morbid or it's just reality. For me, it was just reality. So I didn't want to like lose any moments or not be there. And so, and 3 boys. It's a lot. Yeah. A lot of testosterone in my house, let me assure you. They're all very alpha males.
A lot of poop tears.
A lot of poop tears and a lot of poop and a lot of, I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be right back an hour later. Yeah. It takes a long time to get out the door.
Does anything get done in your house?
They're all very like, yeah.
I'm joking. That was
and now they're gone.
That was so sexist.
It's very sexist house. That's totally fine. It's a very alpha male house. But now they're almost all, I have 2, like one's out of college and one's in college.
Wow.
So it's quieter now.
Yeah.
But I wanted to circle back, or we could talk about them pooping all day. I'm sure they would love to listen to this episode. They'll be like, we'll really get into it. But something I think that's interesting also is the concept of time and how it's so fascinating to me, because I'll say all the time to especially friends who've lost someone, like, can you believe it's been X amount of years? Like it feels so long, so much has happened. So many things have happened where you just want to call them. You just want to tell them big things, good things, bad things, totally mundane things. Like, we're in Santa Monica today and it's July and the weather, the cloud layer hasn't lifted, and you're like, I could totally call my mom and say, can you believe can't go to the beach today? It's like, cloudy with a chance of meatballs or whatever. Like it's like drizzly, to big things and little things. And then also it feels like yesterday. And that's to me such a crazy passage of time. And I just wonder how that has happened in so much. You've done so much in this period of time since Molly's passed away in terms of like, has it moved super fast because of producing the podcast and writing the show and producing the show and like all of this stuff has happened? Has it made these 6 years we said go by like an instant, or has it kind of slowed down the clock because you've had to relive and rewrite? I don't know.
I feel like in a way it's slowing it down, because I feel like the first year you lose someone is just a
whirlwind.
What? Who am I? Because you're also grieving the part of you that existed, because when you lose someone, you were forever changed. So that first year, and then you have the second and third and the fourth, and that's all rocky, but you're starting to get out of it where you're like, oh, I can look with it with perspective and laugh without always crying about it. And then you get out of it and you're like 8 or 9 or 10 years in and you think you're good. And then one day you just get hit with like one little memory that can take all the grief that you thought was kind of like worked out. And but with Molly, I feel like it's going to sound, I am just saying this, so just bear with me. It hasn't felt that much different than it did with my dad, but it feels wider.
Yeah.
Like the grief feels wider because I'm talking about it so much. And so the journey kind of feels the same, but it just feels like it's taken up so much more space in my heart and in my body. And it's given me purpose and direction. And it's actually made my life way more fulfilling, because the barometer to which I measure things is now changed. So I think the path of grief is always this, but it's just with Molly, it just feels like very expansive. And it's funny because she used to always say to me, "You're my soulmate." And I was always like, that's so dramatic. Like, and she's like, you're my soulmate. And I'd be like, well, I love you so deeply. And you're one of my favorite humans. She's like, nope, soulmate. And I was like, well, I'd like to reserve that for like my husband. I decided to marry him, raise his kids together. And like, she's like, nope, I'm your soulmate. I was always like, God. But I really think I was her soulmate during this life. I do. And then when she passed away, I was like, oh, she's now my soulmate, because I feel like our souls are working together. And I don't know if I was as available to be her soulmate when she was here as I am now. Yeah. I think she somehow knew that if she handed this task or this idea to me, that I was not going to stop. And that, I think, is what makes us soulmates. And my husband said, like, looked at me, he's like, she's your soulmate. She's working through your soul right now. You literally have nothing else but souls to work through together. And I was like, you're right. And so I just feel her. I feel her in my home. I feel her. I named my car after her. My Wi-Fi is named after her. She's my passwords. And I'm like, this is exactly what she wanted, which was to be like us connected in this way. And it just didn't happen it happened during the time that we are together, but it feels wider now that we're apart.
That makes total sense.
Does it?
Totally.
Okay.
And your husband's so generous.
Oh, he's such a love. I know. He's such a good human. He's way nicer, better than I am. He has an ability to like not take everything so personally. I'm like, what does that mean to me? All about everything.
Yeah.
And he's very good at like not taking things personally, and really, he's good like that.
But thank like God. Really, I mean, men I think often are like, it's hard for them to share.
Right.
It's in my experience. No, but I think, but to be like, to say like, you're this friend of yours, you guys are soulmates in this beautiful way, and to let that happen so organically and naturally on your own timeline, and to let it become so wide in your life, and to give the space to do that is so beautiful.
It makes me want to cry, because when I talk about her and we have moments where things happen, he gets really emotional, and he was like, I can't believe her. Like, look at her. And I don't think they weren't super close. They knew each other, and we'd have dinners and we'd do things together. But he knew if I went to go see Molly, that meant like 6 hours of me being gone, and being a 2-hour lunch meant 6 hours later. And he just never took it personally. He was never threatened by that. We worked through our own stuff and our own jealousies, but like he was never like threatened by that, because I think he just saw something really unique and special in our friendship, that she felt like family to me. And even though they weren't super close, he felt a very deep love and connection with her. And so often now he'll just stop and be like, look at her. Like, I can't believe and he's like, thank God, because look at our life now in in the light of her, like we've just shifted a lot of things. And the way we do things and the way we approach things of what would Molly do? What would Molly say? How would Molly handle this?
I love that.
Yeah.
I think the best part of getting to 50 years old.
Why did you have such a hard
getting to
time
50
saying
years old, getting to our 50s
Yes.
is being able to just say, for me at least, I'm really lucky. I have a group of friends that we've been friends forever since we were like 12 years old.
Oh, that's cool. That's rare.
It is. I have my bestest friends are friends that there's a group of us, we've been friends since we were like 12. And then I have friends that I've been friends with since I was like 18. So I have most of my friends I've been friends with for well over 20 years. And it's lovely and wonderful. And I don't take it for granted at all.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us are turning 50 this year. A couple of my friends are a little bit younger. A couple of them are a little bit older. And we've talked a lot about this as individuals, on phone calls, whatever, but just being with people who fill our cups, like really as cheesy and whatever sense, but really meaning it. Yeah. And I really do. And they always laugh. They're like, Amy, you've been doing that since we were in 7th grade. Like you really have never tolerated.
You're a cup filler.
I am. Like I've just never tolerated people who don't bring anything to the table for me. Like I give so much of myself, I think, to my friends. And then as I've had my husband and my kids, I give so much. Like I take being a mom so seriously for obvious reasons, at least to me. And I give so much of myself. I just don't have that much left for like people who aren't special to me. So I give so much to those people.
Like good, congratulations,
right?
For not having any room for
I
that.
think so. So
I think so.
And I think as I've gotten older, the people who just are my people, those are it. That's it.
Yeah.
So good.
I get that.
Yeah. And I think this idea that you gave and got, right? So much from one of your dearest friends, and then are continuing to do so, even if she's not here. What was it Natasha Wagner would always say, like on this planet or in this life,
in
something
this
like
lifetime.
that.
Yeah, something like that.
With us still on this planet or whatever.
Yeah.
I think is so special. And I guess looking forward, how do you continue to see yourself doing that and continuing to honor her legacy? And then are there other people in your life that you have similar-ish? Is that even possible?
Yeah.
Friendships with that really continue to do that, especially looking into this next decade, that really honing in on that idea that it's just surrounding ourselves with people who fill our cups, who are not drainers.
Yes. Yes to everything you just said. Yes to being really clear about not letting people that come in and put a hole in the bottom of your cup. So while everybody's filling it or you're filling everybody, there's like drainage happening at the bottom. You're like, who's doing this? And you can usually figure out who they are pretty quickly when you get into your late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
And I think interestingly enough, Molly didn't share well with others. Like she wouldn't want to go out to lunch like the three of us. She'd be like, what? No, we're not doing that. So it was just always the two of us. But all my other friends loved her deeply and she loved all of my other friends. But when it came down to it, she was like, I want one-on-one time with you. And
do you think it's because she knew she didn't have long on this earth, or she just liked being with you?
And she just didn't, she was like, I'm an only child and I'm not sharing my toys. Yeah. Maybe she would say differently, but that's what I think. And her mom and I have had this conversation, which I love that she was outwardly like,
she was honest about it. Yeah.
So I'd be like, do you want to do a girls' lunch? And she'd be like, no, you go do a girls' lunch with your 4 other best friends. And then you and I will do something separately. And I preferred it that way. But my point of bringing this up is that she didn't play well with others. Or didn't want to share her toys, is that now that she's out of this body and that she's crossed over and she's like kind of just with me, she's helping me deepen my friendship with these women that I have in my life and helping me get close to them and understand what's important and how to show up through her, which is so funny because now that she's not here, I feel like she's actually helping me deepen those relationships. And I think her, not to be too airy-fairy, but like her higher self and higher purpose is like, oh yes, like get as much love in your life as you possibly can. So I think it's really great that I have these deeper friendships because of her, because now I lean in. Now it's like, there's no conversation that I won't have with my girlfriends. There's no like, oh, we can't go there. We're going there. And if you're not comfortable going there, then I'm going to force you to go there. Like, we're going to figure it out together. So I feel like my life forward is definitely impacted by her death. I want to travel more. I want to do things. I don't ever want to be in a bed and look back and go, I wish I would have. So like, I'm literally forcing myself to do things that I've been saying I'm going to do for the last 10 years. And just loving people really hard and trying to be accountable for when I'm an asshole or when I say or do things that are bad. Just like, I don't want to sweep things under the rug. I want to acknowledge them and then move past them. And I think she really taught me how to authentically do that. And I'm still messy and it's still a mess, but her friendship to me has actually allowed my other friendships to bloom in ways to where now I feel like I could do those things with other people.
Yeah.
That maybe I didn't know, I didn't know I was capable of loving someone so much. And it's a line in the show. And my husband has actually shown me like you carve out certain amounts in your heart, in your soul to experience joy. And then that same amount gets equally carved out for grief, right? So they come together. So if you're feeling deeply, deeply loved by someone, that opens up that same space to feel deeply saddened by someone's passing. And if you just know that while you're loving someone so hard, and then you become okay with that instead of deeply fearful, which is where I was a lot of the time. And sometimes my fear would keep me slightly distanced from people. I know what it feels like to lose people that I love.
Yeah.
So I know, and I will survive it. Check on me though, right? But I know I can survive it. So I would rather really love hard and get rid of that fear. I am babbling so much right now, but I hope this makes sense.
I totally get it all. It all makes sense.
It's just you should charge me because you should give me a bill.
No, I think it's perfect. No, sometimes I read these like, when I read a really good book and then I like mix it in with some like really cheesy chick lit.
Thank God.
And there's always these moments of like, I'm so fearful of loss. So I just push you away. And it's so typical. I think that's the norm. And I think if you have experienced real loss and you've done the work and you know you can get through it and you build the strength within you, you know how good the relations, like you know how good the love was, you know how good it was that you can get through it. Like, and you don't give that up.
Yeah.
You need to have it again with your girlfriends, your husband, or lovers, whatever it is in your life, because the alternative is alone. And we're not creatures who are meant to be that way. We're not that kind of, human beings are not meant to live in corners by ourselves.
Right.
And so I think that's what you were getting at. Like that is the heart of it. And I think that that was a question I was asking you and you answered it so beautifully, which is that you learned so much from your relationship with her and being able to now, channel that into these friendships and these important friendships in this time of our life that we're going into, happens to be the same time.
I know. I love that.
That it's just so important and so wonderful to be in this stage where you really just sort of shed the shit. And it's just focusing on people who really help make us better and focus on our purpose and surround ourselves with people who are, when I say like-minded, I don't mean like just like you, but like-minded in the same of having purpose and having goals and living lives that are meaningful and lives of, making your community better, making your own life better, and having similar values. I think that's important.
Yeah. And your same desire for like what connection means, like finding people that connect in the same way that you do.
Definitely. And just sort of shedding you have to do stuff. Of course, you have to be kind and nice. And, my mom would always say, it's just easier to be nice. Like, it's just it's easier to be nice. Like, don't walk into a room and be mean or rude. It's easier to be friendly. It's easier to be sweet, put on a smile. But I think faking it and being in friendships where you're like putting on airs and not being your authentic self, it's exhausting. And at
So
this point of your
exhausting.
life, it's unnecessary.
No.
And it's not fun.
I agree.
No matter who it is. No matter who it is.
It could be the nicest person in the whole world. I'm getting really clear about what matches up with how I want to spend my time. Like what's the feeling that I want. And you know what? I can make sacrifices because sometimes I do things that maybe I don't intentionally want to do, but it's supportive of someone else. Like there was a minute there where I had a firm no to anything that I didn't want to do. And then I was like, oh, this is a little like one-sided. Like I found myself just being like, no, I'm protecting my boundaries. And then I was like, oh, I think I've overcorrected a little bit. So now I kind of got to like ease it up. And but I firmly believe it's good to go to that place of overcorrecting and then going and letting the people in slowly.
Totally.
Instead of just constantly filling the cups, like always being the cup filler.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. Let people do it
like
too.
When's the last time somebody filled your cup, right?
Yeah.
But you know exactly who does that for you.
Totally.
But before I felt like I didn't know what was cup filling, what was ego filling, what was like, is this good for my career filling, you know? And now I'm like, I'm pretty clear about it. Yeah. It's weird it's weird.
It is weird.
But it's good.
It's good. And it also, sometimes you just have to like take a step back and let it happen a little bit. And it will. Clearly it has. And you have a little, angel on your shoulder who's helping to guide you, which is pretty awesome too.
It's such a gift. She is just, she's kind of my North Star. And she's made my marriage better. She's made my relationship with my friends better. And so I'm just grateful to her. And so I think she'd be really proud of the project. I think she'd be proud of herself in all of this and inspired by everyone and feeling she just wanted to connect with people. And I'm like, look how brightly you are shining and how you're connecting. And I think she'd be proud of me and with what I'm doing. So I feel 100%. Like 50 feels kind of cool.
We'll have an amazing birthday tomorrow. I hope you celebrate hard and have a great, awesome day.
Thank you.
Doing whatever it is. I mean, fuck the day. Like have a week, a month.
I kind of been doing
whatever it is.
And this was meant to be because
totally.
Just having this conversation has really like rooted me and grounded me.
Good. I'm glad I get to be a part of your birthday week. This was so good. What great timing.
You are just so cool.
Have the best one.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.